Hey guys, it's Dan from Soileater and welcome back to our One Take Wednesday series. Today on episode 22, I'll be going to go over my opinion on whether you should choose an LPVO or a red dot with magnifier. Alright, so little background here. I got two rifles here. Be advised, both of them have been cleared twice prior to filming the video. Safety first. First thing I'm going to do is go over my LPVO setup, and then secondly I'll go over the red dot setup, all right, very quickly. So I am running a Razor Vortex Razor HD. This is the older model. This is the 1x6. It is sitting in a Geisley 193 mount, and then I do have a throw lever on the back for quick adjustments from 1 to 6 power. All right, the red dot setup I am running is a Aimpoint T2 on a Soileater-Works 1.93 mount with the newer EOTech G43 magnifier. All right, it does fold over to the side. So first things, my experience with the LPVO. So I've got thousands of rounds through this particular weapon. Most of the time I am running it on 1 power or like 4 power. Very rarely will I run it to the 6 power unless I'm shooting long range. Usually that's prone work. This rifle right here I have set up with a bipod. This is more of a precision 5.56 rifle for me. It's a 14.5 inch with a pinned brake on it and a law folder on the rear. All right, but not getting too much into the specifics of the rifle itself, I just want to go over my experiences with the LPVO. So what I found that if I am not focusing primarily on CQB distances, so I would say anywhere from 1 foot in front of you, right, to about 50 yards, I would prefer a red dot all day long. All right, Vortex makes some great quality optics. The glass quality on this at the 1 power is magnificent. The only thing that's lacking a little bit is the illuminated reticle is, no matter on the highest power, still is a little dim, and the battery life on there is not the greatest. All right, but with the LPVO, these are kind of my takeaways of it from having shot it a bunch. Is it definitely makes your rifle considerably heavier. So if you're gonna be hiking or doing anything long distance where you're having to constantly carry this rifle, or even clearing buildings, right? I'm not the biggest dude. I don't have the biggest biceps out there, right? I'm not Grand Thumb, but I found that over time, like, you know, a training day, 8-hour iterations of training with the rifle, you'll find that it does start getting heavy a little bit. Next is the 1 power. Although the glass quality is amazing, it's not a true like 1 power. What I mean by that is with a red dot, you can bring that dot up and there's no distortion between what your right eye is seeing and what your left eye is seeing. You start putting any sort of magnified lenses or any sort of lenses in there, and you're gonna get a little bit of distortion. Now it's not bad, but it's enough that you kind of have to squint your left eye a little bit, or at least I do based on my eyes. And I found it just was not as fast as a red dot with those CQB distances. All right. Now, red dots have their disadvantages as well, right? And that would be the longer range stuff. So you would think, okay, let me throw a magnifier on there. All right. So here I've got 11.5 inch. I've got a SOCOM Mini on the front of it. This rifle right here, like I said, is running the EOTech G43. Now, normally with that kicked off to the side, this is how I would have the rifle. So I'm going to do this from the side so you can kind of see where my head position is. And I'm doing this for a reason. I'll explain in a second. So if I was to bring the rifle up, right there is where my head would be, right? With that 193, I don't even have to bring my head down to it, all right? Now, just to show you this is normal, if I was to be running the magnifier on there, in order to get a good sight picture because of the eye relief on that magnifier, watch my head. So I can't see anything right there. Right there, it's clear to me. All right, so you can see just how dramatic I have to bring my head in. It's almost my nose to the charging handle just to get a good sight picture on there because of that eye relief. All right, so that's my biggest complaint with this, is just the fact that you really have to change your head position in order to see through there with that eye relief. All right, otherwise you're kind of chasing the clear area and there's all the black around there. So the eye relief on the Vortex LPVO is phenomenal, right? No matter where your head is, you don't have to move it if you set it up properly when you're mounting the optic. You don't have any issues there, all right? With the EOTech, my main complaint is going to be that eye relief. And then my second complaint, which is not really a complaint, right, is that if you're doing any sort of CQB and you kick it to the side, right, so you come across and just kick it out of your way, in the worst time possible, right, or if I'm like me as a breacher doing any sort of breaching, if this gets bumped up and it happens at the worst time, you know, I'll do some sort of breaching, I'll bring my rifle back up, right, and then what happened? Well, now I've got the magnifier there. Is it the end of the world for most things? No, but it does possibly cause me to take a second to flip it back over. So what I found with the magnifier is that I will only run it for callouts, right? So any sort of call out where I might be on containment or on the perimeter team, I'll throw the LPVO, or I'm sorry, I'll throw the magnifier on there. If I'm not doing that, and I'm doing like a planned high-risk search warrant, I will actually take the magnifier off there, all right? Main reason, again, is because, you know, swinging any sort of ram or Halligan tool or sledge or, you know, the chainsaw or explosive breaching, like, it's just one more thing to get snagged on my back with the magnifier. And then the other thing, too, is the magnifier at the worst time will flop up, all right? So negatives to the EOTech is going to be 100% the eye relief. That's my biggest complaint on it. The second negative is just going to be sometimes this will get popped up. Same thing with, I don't run the Unity mount just because I don't want that. I think, what is it, like 2 point something? You can throw it in the comments what it is, but I like the 193 height. I personally don't want to go any higher than that. So that mount is just kind of, would not work for me, obviously. So those are my two big complaints on it. The one nice thing and why I run it for containment is if you are prone behind the rifle or you have the time, right, and usually distance, sometimes you have time that comes along with that, is as long as you're able to change your head positioning there, that is a good sight picture, right? And that obviously increases my capabilities of identifying the target, right? And that's, you know, in really in everything. I'm not gonna say just law enforcement, military, civilians, like, yeah, you need to know what you're shooting at, right? Anything short of someone trying to, you know, break in your house in the middle of the night, which you should still know who you're shooting at, is that I want to be able to get that good sight picture. You can see I really have to bring my head all the way to the charging handle to get that sight picture. But again, if you have the time to do it, then that's great. It just increases your capabilities of identifying the target and then get well-placed shots on that target. So this is what I run. I haven't weighed both of them together. I would say that this combo is still probably lighter, but I can't base that on actually weighing them. You could look up the specs of each, and I'm sure I'm right on that. The LPVO is pretty heavy, but the one nice thing about this is I can remove this magnifier by just hitting the quick release, pulling it off the gun. This gets stored in a little case in my bag. So I've got the little sustainment bag, and now I'm left with a normal red dot rifle. All right, so that doesn't need to be zeroed. There's just the, you can center the dot in it, and then you mark those. But now I'm left with just a rifle. With the LPVO, obviously, you can go all the way down to the 1 power. When you go to look through it, right, you have basically a 1 power, but again, like I was talking about, it's not really a true 1 power, but it's pretty close. Negative to this one would be the weight of it, and that the red dot illuminated reticle is just not super bright. So on a real sunny day, you're kind of just using the etched glass, which is fine. One of the pluses is that if for whatever reason your batteries died, you do have the etched glass, all right? So you can't go wrong with etched glass in that sense. Another positive on this, obviously, is that I can go from 1 all the way to 6 power, right? So you have a little bit of in between there where, depending on where you are on perimeter or how far your target is away, you can dial that down to still have situational awareness and then also be able to ID your target, for example. And then if you need to take a precision shot, you can crank that right down to 6 and take that precision shot. So that's definitely the benefits of it. Overall, if I was able to pick, I'm not a sniper on my team, so I don't get to pick, but that's just, the LPVO is just not an option for patrol use. But if I was to pick between LPVO and red dot, moment of truth, it would be the red dot with a magnifier. All right, I still think this is a better combo, being able to have the modularity of taking this off completely if I don't want it, depending on what my mission is, or not knowing what my mission is, I can throw this on there quickly, just like that, and now I just increase my capabilities. All right, so hopefully that helped you guys. For all you guys sitting there with your credit cards waiting for Black Friday sales, if you have any questions, reach out in the comments. But I wanted to go over this video because I felt that you guys have asked me a million times through the DMs, so I wanted to get my opinion out there. But again, if you have any other questions, throw them in the comments, send me a DM, and if not, have a good Thanksgiving, and I'll see you next time. Take care.